Men sitting there hoping for someone to come and save you from feminism, from misandry, from the male loneliness epidemic. Well, I'd say bad news, but it's not really news to you, is it? You know full well that you're at the bottom of that list, that you always have been. The elderly, the lame, women, and of course children are groups that everyone instinctively fights to protect. As humans, we even risk our lives to save our pets. But it's funny because, as I said, we all instinctively protect the weak, yet men alone are specifically commanded to, conditioned to. Males are taught from a young age instead to sacrifice themselves to protect others, be it from an action hero movie, anime, games, whatever. That's what we're taught. Yet men are never on that list. We're not taught to protect ourselves, we're taught to sacrifice ourselves. Society is instead taught that men are disposable. And again, it's funny because we're told to sacrifice ourselves for others, and yet at the same time, we're told that men are evil and violent, even when we've never hurt anybody. We're dangerous by birthright, it seems. Our lot in life is to seek out and bring harm to girls, just because. It's our instincts, or so we're told, our genetics, I guess. Yet were that true, then why is it that the only countries in the world in which females are in any tangible way oppressed, the deeply religious countries? And if women hate being oppressed so much, why are liberals trying to import that exact religion into the progressive world? Religions aside, every country is salt and peppered with men and women living right alongside each other, and in most of these countries, women are just as free, if not freer, than men. If the switch were flipped, then men could globally enslave women in the span of a single day. Yet despite the lies of liberals, women remain free. It didn't happen. It's not happening. It won't happen. A man is dangerous. Men are not. The same can be said for women, but no one dares. Men are simply bigger and stronger. They have more avenues to physically abuse others. Anyone with a brain sees that, but people turn to sketchy studies done by those desperate to validate their psychology degree in a world drowning in psychology. By the way, AI does it better, for free. Ironically, most Reddit tiers don't even read the actual science reports, as the thread title itself is more than enough to confirm their psychosis. Oops, I meant their psychology. But of course they don't look at reality, because imagine if they did. Women attack other women and children all the time. Know why? The same reason a man might attack people. Because humans are violent animals, and women are just as violent as men. They simply have less targets, and they might take a different avenue to commit that violence. Instead of a gun, it might be antifreeze. They say women make up 10% of global homicides. Sure, I can believe that. Because they have less reason to. I make up 0% of all people who eat haggis. Take their jobs away. Make prostitution illegal, and then indoctrinate them from birth to think it's their job to pay for their husband and their children's livelihood, and that they're a failure if they can't. Then tell me that they don't act cracked. Actually, wait a minute, they already do. Did you know that there's approximately 73 million abortions per year? Did you know that there's approximately 450,000 global homicides per year? Good thing they're not counting those abortions as homicide then, because that would mean that women commit 162 times the amount of global homicides per year on their own children. And nearly all at the behest of women. Nearly all out of their preference rather than necessity. But it's not a bad thing, because we were taught that motherhood is slavery, so really, when you think about it, those fetuses are bigots, meaning it's okay to snuff them out. Here's another fun number. 80%. Not really fun, I guess, if you're a male, because it represents the number of homicide victims that are males. But no one is out there trying to stop or enact any special laws to protect men. The narrative of men bad, the hallmark of leftist politics, has been pushed for generations through media, through politics, so much so that men themselves now believe it. Whatever conspiracy theories you believe in as to why this happened, it's probably true. You can use a rock to perform many different functions, and no matter what reason they had for giving women super equality, the end result is the same. It breaks society. Men have been treated unfairly, and now men feel like their relationship choice is between being forever alone, going gay, or marrying someone who had a quadruple-digit body count by the time they got out of daycare. What? Is that too crass? But it's only a slight exaggeration, and soon it may not be. Even without words, you can see how quickly the internet and TV has changed females based on their clothing alone. Take a look and tell me, why is it that they complain about the alt-right pipeline, red pills, and manosphere being evil, when most of these men are in no way misogynistic and simply want a wife that wasn't used as a pit stop for hundreds of men? Meanwhile, the final goal for little girls, the goal adult women and even their own mothers set for those little girls, is to become rich and famous by stripping and twerking, singing songs about sex, standing on stage nearly naked, and attempting to outslut the other female AAA celebrities at red carpet events. But that's the point. That's the nature of the new status quo. If women are happy with it, then it's because they conquered the evil patriarchy. If they aren't happy with it, it's because they're oppressed by the evil patriarchy. The status quo sucks, but if anyone addresses the clothing females wear, the songs they sing, the dances they do, or the fact that they do it all right in front of little kids, brainwashing little girls to be the next generation, then the one calling it out is accused of being misogynistic, of being a patriarch, of being an incel, of being etc., etc. They insult you, excusing their unashamed existence as a public prostitute by blaming you for being offended by a female body. But it's not their body that's offensive. It's their mind. Marry and worship a prostitute or be forever alone. That's their demand of men. That's their commandment to men. Accept that your daughter will be brainwashed into becoming meat and never talk back, or else you'll get divorced, canceled, attacked. Is that equality, equity, justice, sane? Is it even human? The result is that men feel totally abandoned. Worse, women have created a female-only echo chamber that paints men as the villains. Men are not used to defending themselves, but they need to get with the program. They don't need women to make them a damn sandwich. What men need are people to live with for the sake of de-stressing and maintaining sanity, for the sake of love and happiness. And while living with your bros is fine, someone inevitably will want to procreate, which is totally reasonable and sort of necessary and also requires a female. But with even little girls being told that porn is empowering, that sex is servitude, and that birth is equivalent to death, this creates a problem for males, for society, really, as we now have multiple generations of girls who live their life like the lyrics of a fake pop song. Without love, people are more likely to be violent, and they blame that on men. Without children, we have no community, and they blame that on men. Without a community, there is less love and less option to find a partner. And without children, the country just dead ends. Obviously, there's much more to it than simply blaming women, and it's not like it's all women to begin with. In fact, it's mostly the fault of CEOs and politicians, breaking the system, breaking us apart. As most of these girls, like I said, are brainwashed. All the same, the pool is shrinking, and will continue to shrink as long as the pornocracy stays in power. The system will break, eventually. It must eventually be overloaded. In this system, men have become the political and financial scapegoat. Our blood and sweat greases the wheels. They cannot let us loose. They need to keep us as slaves. Consider this all-too-normal example which displays an unhealthy life for both men and women. Men work for a paycheck from the CEO. The man then gives the paycheck to a woman. The woman then gives it back to the CEO in exchange for beautification products that she'll use to swindle more men. The CEO then gives the paycheck back to the man, with the corpos and the politicians taking a cut every loop. It's an infinite money glitch for the rich people. The politician terrorizes women, telling them that they are oppressed. They promise women super equality. Women then demand the men to vote Democrat, or else they won't marry them. Men vote Democrat. Women abort the men's babies because a Reddit thread red-flagged the man over something trivial. Reddit celebrates the power of women. It's a leftist dictatorship scheme. Even if you play their game as they command, they're the ones making the rules at your expense. Their lust is not for love, but for power, money, and ego, and it is insatiable, bottomless. Any man playing their game is an idiot, and you deserve all the insults they'll hurl at you. Really, you do. You will never be happy settling for mere sex, let alone for some woman on the internet reading out your name as she thanks you for the free money that you've given her, and she tells you that she loves you, but they will never give you love. They will never love you. And the democratic sphere will always make men miserable. In the end, when youth leaves them, it will make any sane woman just as miserable as the man. It is not made to facilitate love or happiness. It is made to siphon money from both genders. It's simple and clean. Pay attention. The CEO is the pimp. Women rarely reject this cycle, instead claiming it's empowerment. For the men who rebuke it, they are called, amongst many other insults, red-pilled. I wonder how many people stop to truly reconcile themselves to this accusation. that it even is an accusation. Red-pilled, as in to swallow the pill that wakes you up from the Matrix, to make the decision that breaks you free from the machines who have enslaved humanity and turned them into living batteries. This is what they call you as an insult. If this is their definition of what is good and right, then are they not willingly admitting that they are indistinguishable from the robot overlords? That they are objectively the villains? That they actively and willingly attack men with the intent of depriving men of a voice, of free will? They openly admit to this, and they don't even know what they're doing when they say it, as if they themselves are lacking agency, trapped in the Matrix. Women don't know what red pill means because they've never watched The Matrix, just like they didn't watch woke Star Wars or Star Trek, yet men are blamed for those things financially failing, so you know that these women saying red pill, they don't even understand what they're saying. They're simply using it. They use it the same way they scream manosphere, incel, rapist, PDF file, chud, loser, misogynist, patriarch, cultist, fascist, oppressor, Nazi, groomer, abuser, and so forth. It's a warning, a threat before they attack, commanding you to comply. But they don't actually have the power to attack. All they can do is push agendas, and the people pushing agendas are the ones responsible for words losing all meaning. Words such as manosphere are no different. It's a fallacy, an imaginary dreamscape. They throw everyone they dislike into the same box, everyone who disagrees with women wearing revealing clothing, everyone who disagrees with prostitution, who disagrees with frivolous sex, who disagrees with nudity being profusely prevalent in every public park, both digitally and in the real, who disagrees with no questions asked abortions, who disagrees with men being treated unfairly in divorce, who disagree with men being treated unfairly in abuse allegations. Whatever it is, whatever inconveniences women, it's proclaimed as pure evil. Patriarchy, misogynistic, whatever it is, they are all put into the imaginary box of manosphere, and then they are attacked. They don't define why it's a good thing for the 8-year-old girls watching Taylor Swift shake her ass and sing songs about love, because they can't. They can't defend any of their preferences, which is why their narratives are always ambiguous nonsense like love and freedom. They can only demand that you accept it, and if you don't, you go in the box. Here's the sad truth. There is no red pill. There never has been, at least not one that affects men. The Matrix was not made for men. Men have not changed. Men are wearing the same clothing they did 200 years ago. They act the same as they did 200 years ago. They want the same things as they did 200 years ago. Men are free. They are attacked by corporations and politicians because they are free. Just as in the movie, the free are the enemy. The Matrix was made for women. Women changed. Women were enslaved. Women are jealously protected because they are the property of corporations and politicians. They no longer wear clothing, and they tell you that's the way it's always been. They have frivolous sex, and they tell you that's normal. They say a fetus is identical to cancer. They say birth is extremely dangerous, even though only 20 mothers die per 100,000 births. They say giving birth makes the woman an oppressed slave. They say pro-lifers are liars who will abandon the baby the moment it's born, but women seem to prefer abortion to adoption. They fear having stretch marks ruin their social media careers more than the social stigma of abandoning or snuffing their own offspring. They've even removed that social stigma entirely and made acing their baby, a man's baby, a virtuous deed. Women are changing, have changed for the worse, and they are trying to guilt-trip men into feeling bad for them. And it has, in large part, worked. The feminist movement was always a misogynistic hate group, exaggerating typical occurrences of abuse and proclaiming them in a hyperbolic way, saying it was proof of systematic oppression and inequality. Their desire for inequality is such that they rewrote morality and sanctified abortion. Some women wanted equality, yes, sure, but most wanted more. The promise was never that women be allowed to have a man's job. It was that women could do whatever they wanted. And they got it. Men who felt guilty gave them everything. The Matrix was made to enslave women, and weak men allowed it to happen. These jack-off simps may as well be jacked into the Matrix.
Wake the fuck up, samurai.
You ruined the world by capitulating to that demand. You are complicit, and it's high time you started filling in that grave you dug. Honestly, who would think it was a man who censored the words that you might call someone for selling their genitals? Could it maybe be the shockingly large number of gender-specific people who sell them, which are not men, by and large? Who would censor the ABC and XYZ word, if not the overly emotional who break down in tears from seeing a flower bloom? Can't we agree that no man censored guns off of the covers of James Bond movies? At least not without first having his balls crushed by a girl boss. Is this the world that you want to live in? Few though they may be, there are males out there taking the heat, showing what needs to happen and what will happen to you as a consequence if you follow them. Now, I'm not telling you to idolize them entirely, whoever they are. I'm only telling you to take inspiration from their refusal to bend knee in the face of baseless accusation. Be they streamer or world leader, they are the ones you hear about, because when the left tries to silence them with threats and accusations, they respond with, "I don't care." Think what you want about them as a person, but respect their capability to stand up to haters, either bluntly or elegantly. And to that end, I say that if the male loneliness epidemic is real, then many more men should be boldly saying the same thing, because no woman will love a subservient pay pig, and no man will love a holier-than-thou prostitute. Men and women both need to break out of this cycle, and being honest will save you from marrying an anthropomorphized mistake. And an honest society is one where people actually fall in love with each other instead of fall in lust with each other. That said, I struggle deeply with the common notion that silence is complicity. I understand it completely, and I desire to deny it for the sake of sanity. This is because if you were to apply that to everything and everyone, then everyone needs to be political and everything would be a war zone. So, I'm not telling you to go out hunting problems. Don't attack women, just defend yourself. Demand to be treated with respect. If someone asks you, then call a spade a spade. The world got so bad because of people who were afraid of being honest. Because of people telling girls their slutty outfit was cute when it wasn't at all. I'm only saying to call out sexism, call out misandry, stop giving attention and money to women, be they real or fictional, who are trying to use sex to manipulate you, to take from you without giving anything in return. That's not love, and your answer is not kindness. It's pathetic. Winding down, I want to take a moment to say that there are plenty of good women out there. I'm not sure exactly how males and females stack up on the scales, but I'm only addressing a very vocal crowd, which is worryingly becoming less of a minority every day, such that even the leadership of many countries are preaching their message into microphones in front of cameras, on the podium, on the stage. I'm also addressing the systems in place that have broken our ecosystem, and that this notion of red pill and blue pill is just part of a whole. I want to be sure to state that there are plenty of women that actively defend men, and plenty of women that call out other shameless women. Some might do it as some sort of internet scheme. Others might do it because they actually care about men, and some might do it purely for the sake of equality and doing what is right. In the end, they are all called gender traitors and grifters for doing so, because no one can ever imagine a woman as anything but a hyper left-winger, so I know that they suffer as a result of their advocacy, regardless of their reason. To you, the good women, I'm thankful. A woman's support helps keep men from buckling under pressure. It helps keep them strong in the face of adversity. It's not just that women are cheerleaders, for that matter. Women rally behind other women. A woman speaking out on the topic emboldens other women to do the same, just as men being inspired by other males in the so-called manosphere. Again, my thanks to the women fighting for true equality rather than female dominance. Wrapping up, you cannot simply say that you've never hurt a woman and expect good things to happen to you. The CEO raking in cash does not care. The politician farming votes does not care. The misandrist cracking the whip does not care. They do not even need to use real criminals as proof. They do not need to use real statistics. They don't even need a crime that you have personally committed to make you a criminal. They need only fictions, like bear versus man, to classify you as a sexual predator. They need only empty words like reproductive freedom to end the life of your unborn baby for their own purposes. Men aren't the evil oppressors we've been claimed to be. We aren't as violent as we've been lied to be. No more than women, only in different ways. Everything got so bad because men loved women to the point that men spoiled them, and some became toxic, because men wanted to be loved by women so much that they were willing to drink that poison. Being a man is not about suffering, as you're always told. It's not about slaying your enemies, as people assert. It's merely about acting with decorum and strength in order to change the world around you for the good of all. Thank you for listening, and if you enjoyed, please do the YouTube things.